It's recording, and we're off to the races here. Oh, instance. Let me make sure I have a backup of Fiesel's interview so I don't overwrite this. Wait.
Entourage,
right? Backups are good.
Is. I got it.
What does he say in the interview?
Many things, all of which...
Like...
it's all pretty standard boilerplate stuff about 8.3, what they were thinking with stuff. I got a couple of moments of like, oh, we hadn't thought of that, or,
okay.
You always try to get those sort of things, but he was lovely. He's a delightful guest. He was great. Very nice guy. We only had like a very quick amount of time and a tiny little block to do it, and we couldn't do it live and all this other stuff, but it's a good interview, so we're sticking it in. I was thinking about making it the bonus episode for the month, but I think it's good enough to just put in the show, so I'm gonna. All right, here we go. May we all enjoy this, and may Garrett's cough not turn into bronchial nightmare mode.
He's being corrupted.
Amen. Yeah, he is corrupted. Too much corrupted gear. Quit wearing it. All right, here we go. It begins. Oh, I should probably have that up. All right. It begins in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Instance.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Instance. This is The Instance episode. I just ran over my own thing. 586. It is January 17th, 2020. I'm Scott Johnson with Patrick Beja. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Scott Johnson, sir.
Hello.
I'm ready to do an episode of the podcast called The Instance.
Yep.
And I will do my best to honor the brand and company that I serve.
This will all make more sense if you were here before the show, where Patrick and I had an interesting conversation about his quarterly review. But if you weren't here for that, this is going to make no sense. Also, I like to think that you're here just to console me about Cyberpunk being delayed till September. So thanks for being here for me for that.
Funny story about that. On my French show, which got recorded and published like 3 hours before that announcement, I laughed and joked about the fact that, of course it won't be delayed anymore. It will come out like in April for sure. So there you go. That tells you what I know about.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah, it's in French though, so don't worry about it. Nobody listens to French. Also with us, the one, the only, the Garrett Weinzerpel, all the way from America's Wiener. That is to say, oh my gosh, you know what? I haven't made that reference, I think, since Andrew was on the show. Have I? Have I ever said America?
No, I think you make that reference pretty much every couple of weeks.
10% made that reference since Andrew has been on the show.
Okay, I couldn't remember. But anyway, Garrett, it's good to have you back.
I've never met the guy, but I believe Andrew was also in Sarasota when he was doing the Instance.
Correct. Is that where you are?
I'm now in Bradenton, which is like 1 minute further north.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
I used to live in Sarasota. Yeah.
You guys should hook up. I don't even know where he is these days. I haven't heard from him in ages, like years.
Well, I've never met the man, but Andrew, if you're listening, still a big fan.
He's a cool guy. Always worried he might turn into one of those Florida men you always hear about. But I think he's
well, as a Florida man, I can confirm it's it's not that bad. It is okay. You get to talk to alligators.
Yeah.
You get to not really worry about it when you're covered in mud, and you pretty much know how to kill anything with a pocket knife. It's wonderful.
Wow. In a Walmart parking lot.
Are you a Florida man in that sense? Like, are you able to kill anything with a pocket knife? That sounds like a very valuable skill.
Listen, Patrick, up until this point in my life, if I've had to kill something with a pocket knife, clearly I've been successful, because otherwise it would have killed me. It's a binary thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Right.
Sure.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to an internship in your backyard to learn to also kill things with pocket knives.
We'll see how Patrick does in his quarterly review.
And the
before
next
that.
time,
Let's say
Scott's-
in the Finnish forests, it might come useful for rabbits and deers and stuff.
Oh.
They can be threatening. Don't laugh.
Listen, before we get to the big 8.3 talk and all this wild stuff that we have to talk about today, I do have to say one thing about your Scandinavian zone up there. All right, technically Finland's a Scandinavian country, right? Do I have that wrong? Or...
Oh, well, I mean, technically it isn't, but it's fine. It's a Nordic country.
So we'll say Nordic countries. That's a good way to put it. I had the fortune / misfortune of watching Midsummer the other day, and that movie is super freaky, and I don't ever want to go to Sweden, like not even for a minute. That movie really got under my cheese, man, and melted it all. I just cannot tell you enough weird things about the movie Midsummer, but if you want to see it, you should, because it's very good. That and Hereditary, fantastic movies. That dude's my new favorite horror director. That guy knows how to get right up in my face. Anyway. That's just a side note. Now, time for this. All right, a relatively big week in the world of Warcraft. 8.3 has landed. It is here. We got stuff to talk about. Our impressions. We're going to hear a bunch of community impressions as well today. Also, about halfway through all of this, I'm going to play an interview that I did with Jeremy Fiesel, who is one of the devs on the team. In fact, kind of in a lead position on this particular patch. He's also widely known as somebody who worked very hard on island expeditions rather. He was also a big deal back in the Warlords days when it came to garrisons, pet battles, that sort of stuff. So really nice guy. Had a great talk with him about where the game's at, where we might be heading. A few tidbits as we look forward to Shadowlands, but lots of talk about the current content. It's about a 25-minute interview, and I'll insert that into the show. Sadly, you live people won't get to hear it, but the folks at home, the large part of our listenership will listen to that interview, and I think you'll enjoy it. So check that out. Let's talk about 8.3. I assume everybody's had at least some experience with it so far. Garrett, let's start with you. Have you messed about in Azeroth since all the nightmares came?
Oh yes, Scott. I've played a decent amount. Mm-hmm. I wanted to get back in and do some more horrific visions yesterday, but that did not happen.
Wouldn't you call that the best feature so far? That's the best feature, right? I would.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I dig it. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the raid will probably be the coolest thing. It's just not out yet, and I haven't done it. So.
Right. That's true. We should mention that
yeah,
for those wondering if you're not up on it. This is typical too. But the raid's not here yet. It's going to be a bit. We have a schedule, but it's not here. So
yeah, and if you're like me and Scott and not currently on a raid team, you're gonna have to wait a little longer too. Mm-hmm. It's not coming to LFR for another
till February, right? I think so. Do I have that right?
I think it's a week after it opens up in normal. I don't have the dates.
I don't have it in front of me either. But I hear some. Hold on, there's some French happening. Yeah. Play by play. The Prime Minister of French talk is now reaching down. Oh, look at this little dude.
Bonjour.
Tu dis bonjour à Scott et tu dis bonjour à Garrett. Bonjour Garrett. Non?
Oh,
oui.
Hop.
I say oui.
Voilà.
No, oui.
Ça c'est Scott. Bonjour.
Hey, buddy. I don't know how to say that in French. Hi. Oh, he's so cute, dude.
Okay. All right. Now it's back.
Oh, that is amazing. We got to have that moment once a week. That's a rule. He's adorable. All right, sorry, Garrett. You were saying.
Yes, sorry. He wants to look at Scott a bit more. I'm sorry for interrupting the show. I'm guessing this is going to come up in my 6 months review.
It actually will benefit you tomorrow in your review.
This is adorable.
Yeah, it's adorable. Oui, CC. No, that's Spanish. Oh, wait, there's more happening.
Okay,
we're good.
No, sorry. Okay, now we can go. Sorry.
No, that was adorable. All right, sorry, Garrett, you're back. Sorry, wherever you were, pick that up.
So I found it in show notes from 2 weeks ago because I was like, I'm pretty sure we talked about this on an episode or two ago. But Raid Finder kicks off January 28th.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, a week after normal and heroic goes live.
That's not as far off as I thought. I thought for some reason we were all waiting till February for the.
Well, it extends all the way through March because Wing 1 is January 28th, Wing 2 February 11th, Wing 3 February 25th, and Wing 4 on March 10th.
Wow, it's weird to think that I'll be playing or close to playing Animal Crossing when that thing finally finishes coming out. Anyway,
that's going to be perfect because they've said that there's going to be no 835, so you're going to need a little bit of paying bells to a strict landlord.
Yeah.
To wait until Shadowlands.
And that was a confirmed thing. Well, they'll hear it in this interview, but Jeremy mentioned this as well. And I wanted just to be sure about it because, you never know with an expansion if they're going to tack on extra stuff. But it sounds like absolutely no. There is no additional patch content outside of fixes and, the normal sort of maintenance stuff between now and Shadowlands, which is a big chunk of time, folks. And I have some concerns that this patch 8.3 is enough to hold people over if they plan to spend their time in WoW until Shadowlands. We can talk a little bit about that, but I think so far, despite the fact that there's no big landmass, I seem to be echoing what a lot of the community says, which is the intro seems really cool. The quest for all that seems great. The horrific visions are cool and have a nice kind of roguelike quality to them, which leads me down the road to wonder what the big tower thing in Shadowlands might be like. What's that called again? Tower of Pain? No. Big tower of sticking out there. What's it called? It's the tower of dropping the stuff in the tower. I don't know what it is. It's got a name, and I don't remember the name. Chat room might remember the name.
Torghast, the Tower of the Damned.
That's the one. Torghast, the Tower of the Damned, which is very much a sort of roguelike experience, and I like that
Just
a lot.
don't call it the Dark Tower.
No, that's a great book
don't wanna get
series.
sued.
Yeah, it's a good book series and a fine board game, but don't want to get sued. Anyway,
Stephen King will send you a cease and desist from Sarasota, Florida, where he has a home.
Oh, whoa, what? Wait, so you could visit with him and
That
Andrew.
explains so much.
Yeah.
That explains so much.
Does
He's
it?
a Florida man.
Well,
I believe Stephen King has many homes, but yeah.
he's mainly a Maine man, right? Like, that's where he really hides out, is Maine, but he'll come down there if he needs to.
I have gotten a total of 3 texts in my life from my dad who has been grocery shopping at a Publix and been like, oh, hey, Stephen King is here again.
Yeah. Wait.
I thought you got texts from Stephen King. That would have been.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still working on becoming friends with him and Brian Johnson from ACDC.
Oh, he's down there? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yep. There's an episode of Top Gear where they go driving around Sarasota in his cars.
Oh, I thought he was, isn't he blind now? Or no, deaf now. Isn't that the deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah. He lost a lot of his hearing.
Should have put plugs in on stage.
Anyway, but back to 8.3.
Anyway, back to 8.3. It's okay, let's talk about the concerns you had, Garrett, real quick. Last week you were talking about you were still sort of bummed that there wasn't a new zone and new content in new zone, that sort of thing. And now that you've actually dabbled, do you still feel that loss, like that's a thing that you wish was there?
Yes and no. Yes, I after, a few days with it, frankly, I think it feels a little bit like a light patch, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I am enjoying it more than I thought I would, if for what that's worth.
Yeah, the substance of the actual stuff seems good. It's just less than maybe we usually get. And here's the thing. This reminds me, and I can't be the only one to notice this, and I didn't ask this in the interview because it's a weird question, but this reminds me of when Warlords was ending and we were waiting for Legion, and it felt like, man, they're just going to let Warlords go. They're just going to let it kind of dangle there and be what it is. And that's just going to be Warlords. And whatever they're working on now, they're hard at work. And then when it came out, we were like, whoa, Legion is the best expansion you guys have made in a long time, maybe the best you've ever made. Incredible. Almost like this feeling of like the every other feeling, like they're working really hard on the next expansion to the point that it actually affects how you feel, a little lackluster about the tail end of the last one. So I hope that feeling translates to, oh my gosh, Shadowlands is an amazing expansion, and now I understand it was all hands on deck sooner than we thought, and BFA was kind of one of the lower, kind of a dip, whereas Legion was a peak. And Shadowlands will be another peak, and then I guess we can look forward to the next one being a dip again. I don't know. But do you think there's anything to that, Patrick, or am I just seeing patterns where there are none? Because I do feel like I'm seeing a pattern in these expansions.
eh, there is every other expansion pattern that seems to be real. I don't think it's like we're noticing it, but I don't think there's like a rule or a physics law or anything that means it has to be like that. Um, it, I think this one it seems fun. I've currently played through like half of the intro quest. I think it's a bit long, honestly. I want to get into the core of it, which is the horrific visions, and I've played for an hour and a half. And the quests currently I'm playing are not incredible. Um, they're fine, but the nice surprise is the invasions, which I expected to be similar to the rather simple invasions we've had before, and these are a lot more full featured. They're kind of an excuse to do world quests essentially, and that seems like it has a lot more legs than if it was just regular invasions forever. Right?
I see what you're saying.
So,
We actually got an email that talks about this. Let's see. It says, I gotta find this one. That's a really good one. Shoot, where is it? Oh, here it is. Anastasia says, for casual players or those that don't have a group or a bunch of friends to play with, it's a pain in the tush in Pandaria, but Oldham is cool.
oh.
So it sounds like
I
they're
just arrived in Pandaria, and I haven't started the quest yet. But even in Uldum, I was like, I have to say, I understand why they removed the ability to auto group with mods. It made it a little bit too automatic.
Yeah.
I kind of, as someone who has become a very casual WoW player, I kind of miss it. I like the arcadey loop of just going in, knocking down a bunch of quests, and being done. And I wonder if part of my issue is I'm not sure I like the mage anymore. I like, it's not necessarily that I need a group to do the content that I did. It's solo quests, but the idea that I can't do everything I want because I'm a mage and I'm not, DPS in general, is kind of not intimidating per se, but it makes me want to play less, kind of. It's like, it seems like it's going to be a whole thing, a whole chore to try and do something. I was looking at Mechagon, which is becoming a regular dungeon and that you can play, queue for.
Yeah.
And I know that it's going to be really hard to queue for that one specifically, and even for dungeons in general, because I'm just a DPS. I'm just a lonesome DPS. So anyway, that's a bit of a side thing, but the experience I've had so far for the one quest and a half are cool. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long legs it has. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
I have a lot of thoughts about longevity at this point, and I worry that in whatever, this happens no matter what to a certain percentage of people, but I just worry in a couple of months people are going to start to just feel like, oh boy, it is a long time till November or whatever the release date is.
Well, I think that happens no matter what. But have you played Horrific Visions?
Yes,
yet?
they're very
Or
cool.
not yet?
Those are very cool.
Okay, because that's the thing. As a casual player as well, that's what I was trying to get to. I feel like I should be able to get to that a little bit quicker because the quests aren't new. They're not really that different or that interesting.
Well,
And
you
the
don't
Horrific
like hearing
Visions, which is
Magni yell, "I'll meet you there" about every 5 minutes.
Oh,
Exactly.
Magni. Oh, we haven't talked about any of the so okay. We should probably talk about the bits where
story stuff.
What's his name shows up.
I got a new quest. I got to meet him somewhere. Okay, all right. I'll hand that in and get a new quest. Well, I got to meet him over here.
Yeah, that dude teleports to a lot of places, I've found, and then waits for you to show up there. But what's his name shows up? I can't think of his name all of a sudden. Prince Dirtbag, handsome boy. What's his name?
Rathion.
Rathion shows up. Yep.
Thirsty dragon.
Son of
Sexy son of Deathwing is the official name.
You sexy son of a Deathwing.
It's a great thing. You would do worse to be called something else. But hey, look. So
I cannot stop staring at his hair.
His hair is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's just incredible.
I mean, incredible in some ways. In other ways, kind of obnoxious.
In some of the best ways.
Yeah, he's fine.
Is it obnoxious because you can't stop staring at it longingly, Scott? Is that why the hair is obnoxious? Is it obnoxious because you want to know what product he's using?
I mean, part of it is, you know what, they really nailed it, because when he walks in there and Anduin's kind of frustrated on the throne and he's like, oh, great, another advisor, that whole thing. He shows up and Anduin clocks him and like knocks.
The most interesting Anduin has ever been.
I 100% agree. This is what I was waiting for Anduin. Like, finally, we take that dude to a place where I can understand why he feels this way. It's good.
Really?
Well, when else have you been like, oh, Team Anduin, let's go? Name a time.
I mean, the thing is, Anduin's being interesting because he's different from everyone else, and he's rational and wants to avoid conflict. I'm not saying he isn't that anymore. He just, punched Rathian once, but it's not. I don't know that he wasn't interesting before, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Fair point. But when you punch somebody so hard, their scales come off, and you're not even in dragon form.
That's
pretty
cool.
That
is
awesome.
badass.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that.
It's very cool. So hats off to Taron Gregory and his team for another sweet in-game cinematic. Or I guess not in-game, but that
they're so good.
Middle game cinematic. Whatever. Yeah, they are very good.
It's in-game.
Yeah, I mean, it's in-game, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like, it's not being rendered on the fly. It's still video.
Yeah, there's still we now have
I see what you mean.
tiers of cinematics. There's
Right.
like the pre-rendered beautiful stuff that we usually get only for new expansions, but we've gotten a ton of them this expansion.
Yeah.
There's this, which is like in-game, but like using a lot of different effects, and actually it looks really nice and it's pretty. And then there's like in-game, which looks janky and usually has your character model in it.
Yeah, and they move that stuff's weird. I don't love those. But the second tier, which is what we're talking about, has just gotten better and better and better. And I'd watch a whole movie based on that stuff. It's really
dude.
good.
Watch this and then go watch the original Wrathgate. Like, they've come so far.
It's not even close. It's like a different world. It's pretty incredible.
And yet, like watching the OG unspecialized Death Star run, I still watch Wrathgate and get all.
I get a little. Yeah, I don't tear up or anything, but I get excited. Did they think we had forgotten? Did they think we had forgiven? Anyway, so what was I going to say? I would have liked a full-blown Tier 1 animated version of this confrontation, but I think, here's my theory, the entire cinematics team at Blizzard, the ones that do the top tier, the fully rendered business, I think they're all lying in sort of a convalescence ward trying to repair themselves after the work they did with Diablo 4. So I don't blame them. I just think they're all pooped and probably are well working ahead on whatever is going to happen for Shadowlands' launch. So watch for that. All right, this is a good time as any for me to insert this interview. So I'm going to stick it in here now. When we come back, thoughts from the community and our reactions. We'll be right back. And we're back. That was a great interview. Here on the live show, we just sort of didn't do anything. We just moved on. But thanks, Jeremy Fiesel, once again for being on the show. And thank you, Blizzard, for making that possible. It was great to have him on. And I look forward to talking to him again. He was a cool dude. All right. Some of your thoughts from the community that we can respond to here. For example, Sethos from Earthen Ring. We know that server because we have characters there, Garrett and I. It's good, he says, about the patch. I like the loop. Oh, no, this is Lodvar. Different person, sorry. Lodvar says, it's good. I like the loop, but the introduction is way too long. Also, make those essences account wide. Come on, says Lodvar. Seems to agree with Patrick on the introduction being a little too long. A little long in the tooth there.
I'm with Patrick. I'm with Lodvar because, I don't mind that this is kind of a lighter patch, and now that I finally have flying, I'm very much ready to go alt crazy, but God, man, this expansion is just rough for alts.
Yeah.
It is rough, and it's not getting better.
No, not alt friendly. I mean, I don't know that Legion was all that alt friendly, but it was all
No,
friendly.
it wasn't. Well, if there was a major critique I would throw towards Legion, it's that.
Yeah.
Kind of kick this off, and
But
it
at
hasn't
least
gone away in BFA.
That's true, but at least that alt experience was almost like its own game because the weapon progression stuff was unique to every class, and so you were doing something completely different than you were doing on the other one. It's not like you're repeating a lot of content.
The questing, the questing was unique, but just the process of leveling it up wasn't really. No, you were just hanging out in your order hall doing the same junk you were doing in your other order hall.
That's true. It's just different skin on the same stuff, I guess, in a lot of ways.
Yeah. The class hall quests, those were super unique, and I loved doing those.
Yeah, that sounds right. Here's one from Sethos, who I mentioned before. It says, I'm really enjoying the horrific visions loop, but the fact that the story doesn't have much going on beyond the initial unlock cloak, do a vision, now go kill N'Zoth chain is a big bummer. After the war campaign patches, I was expecting a little more, says Sethos. Yeah, I mean, again, I think we've sort of said it. It's somewhat light patch, by all accounts, by previous expansion standards, or certainly by the last expansion standards. But it feels about in line with Warlords and maybe a bit Cataclysm-y in terms of final content. Although Cataclysm, what was Cataclysm's final patch? What did they give us there? I don't remember.
It was the final raid with Deathwing.
Was it? That was the final thing they did, right?
I think you're thinking of Ruby Sanctum being tacked onto the very, very end of Wrath of the Lich King.
Oh, that is what I'm thinking of. And that wasn't very good. Ruby Sanctum.
It was, it very much felt like a stopgap.
Yeah, that was like a, hey, we got to do something because we got a long time before whatever. But the end of Pandaria felt really long in the tooth to me. Like it really stayed until the end and had something to do all the way to the end. But if you asked me what that was that I was doing, I probably couldn't tell you. A lot of dailies, I know. I did a lot of freaking dailies.
I honestly can't think of a single expansion that I feel like gave me enough to do until the next expansion in the end.
That's true.
I've always, at the end of every WoW expansion, gone, all right, when are we getting something else?
That's a good point. Here's another Patrick. There's another Patrick who wrote in. You want to hear this from Patrick?
It's got to be good.
Says, hey, Instance crew, long time, first time. I noticed a number of bugs and issues with this patch, major one being that Magni just decided he wanted to fall through the elevator ad infinitum while in the halls of origination.
Oh, that's not great.
Yep. Oh, laddie, you'll have to come back and reset the quest, laddie. All right, not to mention just not being able to accept or complete quests. I've not seen any of that personally, but I guess to each his own. Anyway, he says, not sure if you've had any issues, but do you think the new pressure from Activision could be pushing content too quickly? No. I think that, I mean, I understand that sentiment sometimes, and there's always, when something goes wrong, it's easy to go, could this be Activision meddling in our plans once again? Like, this is a little too easy of a go-to for that sort of thing, but in this case, no. Like, bugs happen. Sometimes they're clients, sometimes they're servers, sometimes they're both, sometimes it's just busy servers on the week of a new patch. Like I wouldn't read too much into that. They'll tighten that stuff up. Not a big deal.
I mean, we're talking about literally the company that has been flamed ad nauseum for not releasing games and canceling games and saying they weren't releasing games like a few months ago, and they're still in that situation.
Listen, this isn't the CD Projekt Red podcast, Patrick.
Yeah, those guys.
No, but you know what I mean. I mean, obviously they haven't released anything for the past couple of years, and there have been a lot of issues with that. So, you know, we can't have it both ways. Yell at them for not releasing releasing games, and then saying, "Oh, they're being pushed to release too fast."
Yeah,
I'm just really amused by how minor this bug is to me, and that the Patrick the writer in is just jumps straight to conspiracy.
Oh, he's asking, I guess. You know, he's not being obnoxious about it, but
I don't think he's being obnoxious. I just think it's funny. I think it's just like,
yeah.
Like,
it's
like,
an easy go-to.
Someone fell through the floor. Oh, it's Bobby Kotick. He's here. This is his fault.
Yeah. For some reason, my quest giver disappeared. The NPC's gone. Kotick!
I'm not saying that's how Leopold meant this. It's how I'm reading it in my head, and I find it amusing.
Oh, yeah, I should say that. Leopold on Dragonspire Horde, or Dragonspine Horde is where he's from.
Dagger Spine.
What'd I say? Dragon? Dagon.
Yeah,
Dagger.
you said two different things, and they weren't Dagger Spine.
Yep, I said nothing of the right thing. Ether wrote in, says, good morning, Instance crew. I'm not quite sure if this is a hot take about the new 8.3 patch, but so far it seems really interesting. My big sort of complaint, though, is that I played a lot of BFA, mostly for the story, and never got super hardcore into the expansion due to grad school. I raided a little in my guild, Goa'uld, but I was never a high DPS or a lock super geared because of time, or as a lock or super geared because of time. That makes sense. Anyway, however, not that I'm done completely with grad school.
Can we pause for just a second to berate him for choosing to work hard at school instead of playing WoW? I mean, what a noob.
Why, right?
Seriously.
How do you even call yourself a player? My
Lol.
gosh.
How dare you try and build yourself a life of value?
Yeah. How dare you think of your future and all the
When you-
potential you have? Why? Why would you do it? Why don't you just play 10 hours a day in 2020?
Look at this.
People
Good
like
student.
that, seriously. They're just like barely one notch above the people who blame Kotick for everything. Seriously. Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, for some reason I don't know why Patrick's Skype is. You're currently blocked. I don't know why you're frozen.
It's because Patrick at the start of the show, before we actually got online, said, "I don't understand why everyone craps on Skype."
Yeah.
Well, I can.
So
give you
wait,
two
what's
examples.
happening? Can I do anything to fix it?
Alt tab and see
You
what
look like
happens.
the T-1000 after Arnold shot it in the face with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, and on my side you're just frozen. So it depends on where
Okay.
we're getting.
Should I remove video then? Do we?
That's up
get
to
rid
you.
of video?
You guys want to just see my ugly face
Okay,
for the
let's-
rest of the thing stream? Yeah, do
Let's
it.
try to reset video
Whoa.
and we'll see if it helps.
Oh, that totally fixed. Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, excellent.
You're
welcome.
All right. So anyway, grad school guy, he says this. He says he has a slight hot take that isn't too much. I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of things to do, I guess. I don't even know where to begin. I finally figured out where to start the new Oldham campaign last night, but unfortunately I started the instance about 10 minutes before the server/instance shut down last night, so I might try it again tonight. I just think that there is a bit too much, which I think is good for the people who stuck with each patch on release. Maybe good for me in the long run, but right now it just feels stressful. Sorry, that might have all been a bit of a word jumble. Hope you all enjoy. If you're playing right now, says Ether. Well, Ether, this is an age-old thing, though. If you have not been in for a while and you come back to the game, there's a ton to do. Ton to do. If you've kept up with BFA, you're going to feel like there's less to do, or that you're going to feel like this isn't that much tacked on to the end as a major patch. So it really does kind of depend on when you're coming at the game. I can't even imagine what a new player feels like right now. Like if you came to this game and it says, oh, this comes with a boost to 110, does it? Interesting. Let's just take that boost and let's start wherever it puts me. It's overwhelming. The number of systems that are in the game now compared to if people had started a long time ago and came back, or if you never touched it ever. Like it's a big beast, and it's a thing they have to balance, and it's hard. So I don't, I understand how you feel. But
I think at least when you come back for the start of an expansion, it's definitely a lot more manageable.
Mm-hmm.
When you come back, like especially on the last patch, it is really hard.
Yeah, this is true. Sean says, intro is lovely, and first time around, the daily loot feels easy to achieve and rewarding. Really looking forward to seeing the raid in a week and the cloak upgrades. Some performance hitches on OS 10, though. That is to say, Mac OS Catalina. Haven't taken away from my enjoyment, though. So a good review from a Mac user. Always good to see. Don says, love the quest chain in the intro. Not sure about my desire to run it on multiple characters. Again, not very alt-friendly. But when is the game alt-friendly? Not very often.
Even for me, I was saying earlier I'm not super happy with my DPS right now. I was thinking, I have a few characters at 110, including my druid, which I often play. I can't, the prospect of leveling and then having to do all of this again for someone who's relatively casual, I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to stick with the DPS and wait to see what happens next expansion.
Do you feel like part of the problem with your mage is not just that it's you're a DPS, so therefore you're not going to get, you don't get the same love that a tank or a healer does in group content? Is it that, or is it?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, I know that's what you're saying, but do you think part of it is that you don't like where the mage is now? Like how
it's possible.
Mechanically, is it not doing it for you anymore? Or I'm just curious about the state of the mage, because you've played that mage since the dawn of man.
Yeah. It was my first character. I've gone to the druid to have more flexibility over the expansions, and now I figured, I'm going to try the mage again. And I'm not. I think I'm going to switch back just because I play a little bit less, or a lot less. But yeah, also I've been staunchly attached to the fire spec, and I guess it's not the most fun one, or not the most I should switch it up a little bit. I have 3 specs, and I don't know why I'm sticking to the one. I should switch it up, I suppose. Maybe I'll try that. But my worry is more that when I want to do something, horrific visions is fine because you can play solo, or only DPS or whatever. But anything grouped, then I know it's going to be tough. And maybe it's also because I have the memory of that horrendous anniversary raid when I had to wait 2 or 3 hours to do one wing.
That was bad.
And it's not going to be like that.
Right.
When for regular dungeons, it's usually about 10 minutes, which is much more manageable. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's how I feel.
It's
how I feel. Okay, feelings are real too.
I completely agree. Like my feeling right now, and I keep saying this might just be a me thing because I think it might be, but I have this problem, and I do it with all sorts of things: phones, computing technology, sequels to movies. Like when something new gets announced, I suddenly go like how interested am I in playing dusting off my PlayStation 4 today? Not at all. Why? Because I know there's a new box coming and I don't care anymore about the current thing. I don't know why I do that, but I do it with everything, and WoW's no different. I care about it a little bit more.
That's not the same thing at all, though.
It kind of is.
I mean,
when you say
it?
Yeah, oh yeah, when you say to me if you say to me, "Hey, there's this cool new patch for WoW," and I know that Shadowlands is coming later in the year.
Okay, all right.
Then in my mind, the expansion is like the new thing. And so to me, it's kind of the same thing. Same thing goes for consoles. I don't want to play current gen consoles. I want to see what's next. And when I know I have a slower video card than everyone else is using, drives me crazy. And it's not like a jealousy, like I got to have what everybody else has thing. It's not that. It's just I just get I fixate on what's next, and I can't wait for that. And so what's current, I just know it's temporary. I just know that this is all going to go away soon, and that's how this feels a little bit for me. Again, it's a me thing, and I've done it since the beginning. So WoW has always been this for me since day one. When BC was announced, I was like, well, vanilla, I don't want to play them. I don't want to play. I want to play this expansion when it comes out. And then when same thing happens when Wrath came or was coming out, and I'm like, well, I don't want to play any more BC. I want to play Wrath of the Lich King. That sounds amazing. So it's just that, and I need to work on that because it's not the healthiest approach to video games. But then again, I'm playing The Witcher 3 again now for who knows why, and it's not the show's fault. I haven't even seen the whole show yet. It's not even that. It's just. You know what it is? It's just I just that's an amazing game, and it holds up 5 years later and looks brand new and beautiful still, and there's no reason not to play it, and there's tons of gameplay there. Plus now I got to wait till September for the next game, so I certainly make exceptions.
What were we talking again? What were we talking about?
Video games and how they
right.
Yeah. Video games and how they're I don't like the old and busted even when they're not, and that's again. It's a me thing, and I'll work on it, okay? I'll work on it. Justin says, love the Alliance quest. Just had fun time going through it. Looking forward to the raid, but more importantly, I'm super stoked to watch the race to world first again. Really like the cloak, daily quest, visions too. Just something new and fun to do again. So a very positive take from Justin, who said that on Twitter. Antonio says, I died a lot because of my stubbornly use of gear with too much corruption on it. So don't do that in the horrific visions, I guess. There's a way to overdo it.
So Has corrupted gear been in the game since the last patch, or is it a new thing of this patch?
Yeah, it's a new thing.
Brand new thing. Yeah.
It's a new thing. Okay. I wanted to mention it. It is a mechanic that I really like. I think it's really cool. I just figured out what it was. I knew about it before, but seeing it like on my gear, I think it's a really cool new way to approach gearing, which is, you know, the thing we do the most in the game. So I do want to give them points for that.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I've been a little bit more negative, but
Same. Really like it.
that is cool.
Yeah, that part's cool. I mean, actually, Garrett, this is a good question. How do you feel about just the eldritch horror sort of tentacle, monster stuff in general? Like,
Oh, it's fantastic as long as you're not in Oldham, because I'm pretty sure they forgot they were supposed to put tentacles out there.
they forgot the tentacles. You're saying? All right.
Dude, the veil looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like, they did a really good job. When I went out there, I was like, holy crap, look at this. There's tentacles and eyeballs everywhere. There's some new creepy underground thing where you got to go fight a big monster. It's everything I wanted. And then I went to Oldham. I'm like, this is just freaking Oldham.
Yeah, it's kind of just Oldham.
It looks the same.
Yeah, which I
So,
like. I already like Oldham.
You start with in the Horde. You start with Pandaria.
Yes, right?
Because in the Alliance you start with Oldham, and maybe that's why I was really underwhelmed. It was just like, okay,
It's
this is
Oldham, yeah.
and you do
Well, I
quests
went to
there.
Oldham first as well. I think
you can
okay,
choose.
alright.
Can't you choose?
For the-
I think you
for the
can.
purpose.
Okay.
No. You go to Oldham first.
You do go to Oldham first.
Yeah,
I got it mixed up.
And
what
I
I did.
stopped after that,
Yeah.
and I didn't go back until late that evening to pick it back up.
Yeah.
And like, I was talking to some friends about it, like, what do you think about 8.3? And I'm like, I think this is the worst thing I've ever played.
Oh,
Because the
man.
only thing I had seen was Oldham,
Yeah.
and it's bad in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
It's just-
then that
it's
night
just
I
sort
went
of
out
Oldham.
to Vale of Eternal Blossoms, and I'm like, dude, this looks amazing. Oh my
Oh.
god, this is great.
Yeah,
Like,
and you need
why-
that.
why-
You need that too. You need I don't know, for this patch to work for me in this sort of a mechanic of sanity and insanity. For it to work, I need the aesthetic to be there. I need to just see these eyeballs on everything. I need to feel that sense of that
Oldham,
stuff.
Oldham feels very much like a just a little tacked on extra piece of Cataclysm, because it's very brightly lit. I'm fighting the same kind of things I was fighting in Cata. Like, I don't know, it's not doing it for me.
Yeah. Well, more tentacles,
I
please.
have hope.
Yeah, maybe tentacles don't like sand. I don't know. What's going on. How does that work? Tentacles are allergic to sand. Do you ever
We're all Anakin Skywalker now.
Oh my gosh, it's all come full circle. We got a couple more emails, but I'm gonna save them for later in the show because they're a little more general. But a lot of good feedback, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of talk. I hope people are enjoying the patch. Let's do a brief look at the rest of Blizzard. Oh, that's not right. Here it is. All right, so there's not a lot going on. They tend to pace this stuff out so that the game of the moment is getting its spotlight, and WoW's currently it. But Overwatch, really not a lot going on in there, other than it's a fun shooter. Have fun shooting.
Well, there's the Year of the Rat thing.
Oh right, yeah, but that's just recycled stuff, and there's a couple new skins, right? It's not a huge deal.
Yeah, essentially yes.
Yeah.
So not a lot.
Not a big deal. Hearthstone though. Always hearing the Hearthstone's got it kicking. I saw a new video with those guys pretending like they're up in Northrend, doing a little news thing. That was kind of cool, Garrett. What's going on? What's going on in Hearthstone?
Well, I mean, that video was for the same thing we talked about last week, Galakrond's Awakening, the final single player edition for this standard year is coming out next week.
Oh, I was gonna ask release. So next week, next Tuesday.
I believe so. I don't know. Again, I don't. Dude, I never know dates.
Speaking of which, can anyone tell me when did Tuesdays become like the standard day to release your video games and/or patches? When did that happen? Because it's not just Blizzard; it's everybody.
2002, I think.
Yeah, that's it. And did someone just stand up and go, I proclaim Tuesday as the day we do new releases, occasionally Friday, but mostly Tuesday.
And plus, hasn't Blizzard been doing a lot of Friday releases?
Yeah, they've been doing some Fridays. And you'll see sometimes big releases. Nintendo does a lot of Fridays for some reason. But it's such a standard now. I want to know the origins of it because I don't know who chose it or why. Maybe it's a trading thing, like when stock markets do things, or maybe it's I don't know. I have no idea. Why was the arbitrary thing chosen to do it Tuesdays? Because right before a launch, you need that Monday to just sort of everyone's heads are together and weekend's over and you didn't have to work all. I mean, like maybe that's it. I don't know. Oh, that used to be Matuba in the chat says that used to be the day that records would release as well, like music.
Yep.
Interesting.
It maybe might still be. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I went out like on day one to go get a new album.
Yeah, a new VHS back in the day.
I remember in like high school though, going to get American Idiot on Tuesday on release day.
Nice. That's still a great album, by the way.
It's a fantastic album and sadly relevant again.
Yeah, but also I think a lot of people didn't like it at the time, but I loved it then, and I really like it now. It's a great.
I mean, it like won a Grammy and went platinum pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I think it did all right back then.
Well, didn't people though? They were starting to. Well, whatever. Green Day wasn't.
Green Day has a long history of people throwing shade in their direction.
Yeah, I like whatever. I love Green Day. Green Day's great. Of all those like pseudo punk '90s business things, they're the king. Like no one comes close, in my opinion. What are you going to tell me? Sum 41 is as good as them? No.
They are very good, though. You should go see Sum 41 live. I highly recommend it.
It's nice to hear they're still doing it. Did we have this conversation? We did one time about Sum 41.
Probably. Yeah. I love talking pop punk, and we'll jump at any chance, including derailing the instance to do so.
Hello there. How about them? How you feel about Blink-182? How do you feel about that?
You know I love me some Blink-182. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love Blink-182, honestly?
Me. I don't love them. Here's this, though. Listen to this.
Hello there.
I like to play that sometimes. It's fun to play.
Hello there.
Just kind of have it go.
Is that like just the isolated audio of the vocals?
Yeah,
only?
There's nothing else, I think.
Hello
Man,
there.
I don't think I ever realized how much reverb was on that damn thing.
I don't know where I got it, even. I don't remember where I got it, but it's pretty great.
Ooh, boy, yeah. But, and Galacon's Awakening looking very cool. 35 new cards being added to Standard and Wild.
Very nice. There you go, then. Or still kicking it, and I'm still enjoying Battlegrounds. I'm terrible, but I love it.
I'm doing all right, man. I'm on the climb. I'm figuring it out.
Nice. You're getting
It needs a balance update though. The meta is very figured out.
Yeah, they'll do one.
All right, Scott, are you still having a hard time winning?
Yeah, I am. I'm not.
Force demons every time. You'll probably get top 4 every game.
Force demons. Okay.
Like force it. Like just blindly draft demons.
Get the demons. Doesn't matter how many I get, whether they become, whether I get 3 or not. Just
try to get a triple on 2-star so that you can discover a floating watcher.
Okay.
And if you don't, get to 3 as fast as possible and just reroll until you find a floating watcher, and then just keep grabbing demons.
Okay. All right. No, I like this.
You also need the Wrathweaver, but that's that 1-star dude that that deals damage to you when you play a demon and grows.
Yeah.
That combined with the floating watcher, you just keep playing demons. You're trading your life for stats, and it's stupid, and it's like the most surefire way to get a top 4 right now.
I'm into top 4, so I'll do it. Mush Potatoes in the chat made a little confirmation here. Microsoft introduced Patch Tuesday in October of 2003. To reduce the cost of distributing patches. This system accumulates security patches over a month and dispatches them all on the second Tuesday of each month, an event for which the system administrators may prepare. Apparently, this sort of just caught on, and everybody started doing
I'm not sure it's the same for releasing games and stuff, though. I don't
Maybe
know.
not. That seems more tied to like DVD releases, like because they were and music. That stuff was happening on Tuesdays already.
No, I don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But Tuesday is also a quieter day in the week. People have just come back. Like Monday, everyone's busy. Tuesday, you're like, not even Wednesday yet. What is even Tuesday? Like, is this even? What are you talking about? Tuesday is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you put up Patch Tuesday, and then it's more fun.
Here's what this is what Patch Tuesday sounds like.
Hello there.
And then it's on your computer. It's all set to go. All right, what else? Heroes of the Storm holding steady, doing their thing. It's just there. It's happening. It's a game. It's great. It's a fun game. People should play that game. Diablo 3, same thing. It's just we're in the middle of Season 17 or whatever it is. And stuff not really happening there. And StarCraft, awful quiet as well. Kind of quiet on the Blizzard front, to be honest. The most noise you're hearing is Hearthstone and WoW at the moment, which are all from the same universe. So I don't know what that tells you, but they know where the money is, I guess. That's it for that. Good stuff in general. Now this. Damn it, why is my volume down?
Hear ye, hear ye.
Why, it's the town crier.
All right, some emails here at the end of the show. By the way, you can send those emails to us at theinstance@gmail.com or leave us voicemails at 801-471-0462. We have this one that says, in the last episode of The Instance, Scott Johnson brushed aside the group of people criticizing WoW Classic for its problems as Nostralis people, and then proceeded to make jabs at them without giving any attention to what the community complains about. I think this is a pretty lousy thing to do, he says. I actually agree with him. I think I was a little dismissive of that, and I probably shouldn't have been. He says this.
Sometimes on podcasts, you make a comment on the fly that wasn't a planned talking point, and you don't have a lot of meat to spin off of that comment with.
Yeah, it's a good thing to understand. I agree.
That's how it goes down.
You should go into every listening knowing
the comment is respectful, though, isn't it?
I mean, no, it's fine. It's fine, and he's right. I didn't, but also I think Garrett's right in a sense, whereas it was like a random pop-up topic and wasn't really a thing we were going into.
There was not a note in the show notes last week saying dump on Nostralia's people.
No, yeah, that's true.
It just kind of came up in an offhand comment.
Right.
I think the comment is more like, I think he would be fine to dump on Nostralis people, but he wants us to talk about the issues, the valid issues that people are raising about Classic, which is an entirely different thing.
Which is a thing we could and probably should do, absolutely. And so I take his point.
What are the issues then?
Well, this is what he says. There's a whole long list of things that Blizzard has changed by rolling out in a weird patch state. This particular version of Alterac Valley lasted in vanilla about 1 month before the removal of the honor system, rather. This is not the version of AV people wanted, but instead of reading or listening to the host of the instance, but instead of reading or listening, the host of the instance would rather just ridicule them for not liking choices Blizzard made.
All right, now he's being a dick. Okay, I'm with you now. That's really not.
I mean, he is deciding to take a certain tone. And by the way, I'm not saying this is everybody in that crowd, but I get a lot of this from people who get really offended by this stuff, and I don't know what that culture is. I don't know why you guys get so worked up. I don't get it. It's just, we're just talking about a game here. However, there's probably lots of valid points about the way Blizzard's handling vanilla versus Nostralis, and I think it would behoove us to learn more about that and talk about it for real on the show. So I'm going to try to do this by next week, where I just have more knowledge about it, so I can talk about it educated wise and not just make broad assumptions like Cyber thinks I'm doing. So there you go. The issue
is with Classic, what we were saying when we were saying, well, the problem with Classic is that you can't make everyone happy because there's no one version that is going to make everyone happy unless you just stick to actual Classic. And was it really just 1 month, the honor system? It was just 1 month? I have a hard time believing.
That doesn't seem right to me either, but...
Yeah, I remember people grinding and grinding and grinding. Maybe there was only 1 month of overlap between that and Alterac, and I don't know. I mean, even if he is correct, the reason they did this to advance Alterac was to give people content, right? And it obviously they changed the order of the patches, and so some things are going to get funky, but maybe there is a valid claim there. It's maybe, I'm not a specialist, as you said, Scott. We don't know exactly.
We don't know. That's the whole point. That's exactly the point.
But but I think our point, which is launching Classic and doing stuff, is messing with the will of the gods and the community, because you can't make everyone happy. If they hadn't done that, what they did, other people would have complained that, you don't have to stick to this formula, you could do this and that to make it a little bit more fun. Like, there's no one version of Classic that will make everyone happy. And that's also a fair point to put forth, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I would also say this, I don't know why, when I called Nostralis people, I'm just saying the people who really liked what that was and were big supporters of it. So I don't mean it as a derogatory or a pejorative term. Also, I would say, if you don't want me to have this impression that you're all so thin-skinned, try not be so thin-skinned. Like, we're just having a conversation here, and I am happy to talk about these issues. In fact, I want to. And you make a valid point that I just sort of dismissed it out of hand because, again, it wasn't the topic. It isn't what we were going into. And I don't really have a basis for a lot of knowledge about what's going on in that particular community. So I'm happy to dig in more, maybe even interview somebody who knows more. Like, all that stuff's interesting to me. But maybe come at it less. You guys are always so offended by everything. Just so freaked out all the time. Just so blah. Everything just, you get within 5 feet of you and you're like, it's not like it used to be, blah, 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 and you just freak out. You don't need to be like that. Just have a conversation. It's fine. I think your desires are valid and I want to know about them. But you don't have to be so thin-skinned. All right. Joey Image wrote in. He's in the chat today too, I think.
He is, and apparently doesn't like pop punk, so we could just move on.
Ooh,
To
you know,
Joey,
I liked you. I thought you were a really good wrestler, entertaining, fun, expert in your craft. But now I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
You know, it colors everything.
Yeah. Who's the American idiot now? All right.
Not me.
He's
Might be an idiot, but I'm not American.
Not American.
So.
All right. So he says this. He says,
Yeah,
fellas,
I'm shitting.
he says, I'm asking this as an iPhone guy, since that is what I have and use. As seemingly the only member of the Blizzard fandom actually looking forward to Immortal, a Blizzard and Diablo game I can play on my iPad while traveling, I'm in. How do you guys feel about the fact that it was announced last year? By the time it launches, it probably will be 2 generations of phones behind. The new iPhones being loaded with new technology, processor, new graphics chip, etc. Will that have any bearing on the player base number just based on the fact that the game is releasing on brand new hardware and may seem to render it instantly outdated? Love you guys. Thanks, guys. Joey Image. It's a fair question, but that stuff scales really well. I can't speak to the Android platform because there's a lot of different phone manufacturers, different chips, different stuff going on all the time. On the iPhone side, while you do have new generations of chips, those CPUs or those chips that power those devices and their graphics capabilities scale pretty well because they're all Apple's designs and they tend to be incredibly good at scaling stuff. So you also forget that Blizzard doesn't ever release a game on any platform that is meant to be cutting edge graphically on day one and make everyone strain their hardware, whether it's PCs or this or anything else. They tend to want to.
I think that's the main thing.
That's the main thing. I agree. So I think that we'll see the same thing here. They want it to play on as many generations of the devices as possible for the most people possible, and that's what you'll end up getting. It'll look good though. I mean, it looked great when we played it, and I think it'll look just as good, if it was released today or next week or whatever.
I mean, you can still play most Blizzard games on Macintosh, which is really all you need to know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's amazing. I can still play WoW on my Mac because Macs are shit at GPU stuff, generally speaking. And, it helps that Windows is a gigantic dominant gaming platform and has, DirectX 12 and, they've got like graphics libraries that are well beyond what anything Apple's doing. But even if you've got, like, I just plugged in a external GPU, an eGPU to my Mac, and it makes a huge difference on like tons of different kinds of games. But not everybody's going to do that. And they want their Mac people to be happy. So there you go.
I'm sure they want people to be able to play it on older phones because not everyone constantly is, getting the newest, latest, best.
Yeah, exactly.
During the upgrade cycle.
Exactly. So my guess is you're going to be able to play this thing on the iPhone side on anything from like a 6 through the current 11s. And I think that sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
No, I was going to talk about something else, which is, to me, the bigger question is, what are they doing with that game? It's, it was announced over
weird.
A year ago. We haven't heard anything. And I understand, the negative reaction of the community probably has something to do with this, but I'm with Joey. Like, that comment about pop punk kind of it's more acceptable now because I also am very curious about Diablo Immortal. Mm-hmm. And I think there's it's a legitimate, like, have they been changing stuff? Like, was it not as fun as they were hoping it would be? So they're revisiting the gameplay. I don't know. It's very I'm very, very curious to hear what they're up to with this game now.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's been long enough. Time to give us a date or an update or something. more than oh yeah, we're still working on it. That's not enough. I need to know more. Or maybe I don't. I'm not that interested in the game.
maybe
I'm
you
gonna
don't.
play
Yeah,
it.
it's possible.
But I kind
I
of
think next time we hear about it, it should almost have a release date.
yeah.
So that people don't freak out too much. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they went back to the drawing board and they're making this thing completely not free to play. It'll be a true game you just buy and play, and it's awesome, and it's just a mobile rad game.
It seems very difficult. Maybe there will be 2 versions or something, because on mobile it's very difficult to get people to buy premium games, and if they want to sell it, they can't sell it for $5. I think a Diablo game would be like 20.
Yeah.
Right. And that maybe Blizzard can make it work, but
maybe they're reassessing after now that Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and presumably any future Bluetooth-based controllers can sync with iOS devices in particular. Maybe they're changing control system stuff. Yeah, I don't know, because I would much rather play that on my iPad propped up with a freaking controller. I would love that. I don't want to touchscreen it. Anyway.
I'm sure it's going to be controller compatible, or I guess it will be, but the big thing is why the business model is what you were talking about. I think it's possible to not make it pay to play, like to keep a free to play model, but use something a lot more acceptable than loot boxes or anything like that, and have a season pass. That I think everyone would be fine with. Maybe some people would begrudgingly say, I want a game that I pay and that's it. But honestly, that's never going to happen, especially for Blizzard. At this point, I think it's fairly certain that including Diablo 4, by the way, is going to have some kind of season passy type thing, even though you're probably going to pay $50 for it to begin with.
CD Projekt Red's the only developer anymore that just makes straight up single player games. I feel like they're just like the only bastion of this left. It's like, hey, we're making Witcher, and you just play it, and pay for it and play it, enjoy. I think we're running out of those.
Put it past them too.
Well, we're right. I mean, maybe they have to fold and do that eventually, but I'm just saying there are very few of those guys anymore on the AAA level.
Sure.
Yeah, like you can go buy a lot of indie games that are self-contained products, but in the space of like a AAA title, no one. Like,
yeah,
it's just there's always some extra little deal on the end. It's fine. I'm not saying that's good or bad. It's just the way things are now. All right, final.
I think it makes for a. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Makes for a what? Go ahead.
I was just going to say there can be really good games in both types, but it makes for very different types of games. Like games that have contained single player experiences are a certain type of game, and I understand why a lot of people want those. Games that have a business model where you have to get something all the time, they can be really good, but it's a very different kind of experience, and some people who don't like that are not going to be happy about it, and I understand that.
Yeah, this is all true. All right, final note here from Ed, who says, why does Blizzard reward 6-month subs with a mount but does not reward longtime month-to-month players? I've paid monthly without fail since 2007, but yet no free mounts for it. Thanks for all you guys do each week, Ed. Well, I mean, I've said this a few times. We're all lifers. We pay every month and do our thing and stuff, and it would be cool, I guess, to have some benefit from that is a bonus or something, but I don't know. I don't know why they don't. I do know why they don't, because the 6-month thing to get a mount is a good incentive for somebody to go do a 6-month thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a business choice, and this isn't just to say, we love people who pay 6 months in advance, so we're going to give them a mount. Not really. They're just saying, what if we gave you 6 months, if you paid 6 months in advance, we gave you something for free, would that bring you back to World of Warcraft, or would that make you start playing the game for the first time? Like, that's what they're into. So that's why. And
if you know that you're going to be playing, they say, Ed, probably he says he's been paying since 2007. I guess you're probably going to be playing for the next 6 months. So I understand what you say, but you could go and buy it in advance, or maybe you can't because you live month to month or week to week or something like that. And then, yeah, it's more of an issue, but giving something to players who have been paying nonstop for. I think they did that for the 10 years.
Yeah.
There was something, or I don't remember. Maybe they didn't, but
I mean,
it
that was a
brings a lot of issues.
pretty unique and one-off event. I mean, I
Right.
think I agree with Ed here. Like at a certain point, like why not? Why not
Well,
just be like,
yeah.
hey, thanks.
Let me ask you this. I mean, I agree with you too, but you see what I mean about the business model here. They're just,
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah.
That to me, I'm just like, yeah, of course, that's obvious. It's a massive
Yeah.
incentivization to bring people back to the game and to get people currently paying month to month, give them a bigger chunk of change up front and lock them in for 6 months.
right.
And I think Ed understands that too. He's just venting.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
understandably,
yes. I am saying that I agree with that, and it would just be kind of nice. Like I've been making that complaint about like my cable provider for my whole life because they have awesome incentives if you're new, but if you've been with them, you get nothing.
Oh,
However,
great comparison.
my
actually.
cable provider just gave me a free year of Amazon Prime because
Oh.
it was a promo they were running for new people, and I'm like, oh my god, this has never happened before. Thank you.
Well, all
Soulless
you have to do
evil
is
mega
you have to do
corporation.
is call them up and say, Comcast, I'm leaving, and then now there is a world of rad bonuses that are at your
All,
fingertips.
all
So
I'm saying is
that's
I've
what
never,
you do, Ed. Like, you
I have
just call
never
up Blizzard and like, guys, I'm leaving. And I guarantee they will give you like free mounts.
Yeah.
Like at least
wouldn't that
three.
be amazing if you could game your World of Warcraft subscription the same way we game our internet and cable providers
Sure.
and call them up and be like, I'm thinking about getting rid of my television. I kept TV for a whole extra year because they're like, well, we'll give it to you for like $5 extra instead of what you're currently paying.
Mhm.
Okay, sure.
Sure.
That would be wonderful if you could do that for World of Warcraft. You just call them. They're like, okay, listen, if you stay, you can play the game for $5 a month for a
Right,
year. Here you
right.
go.
And there's a good reminder on the 10-year. That was the statue. So if you were never unsubbed for any period of time during
Oh,
the 10 years, you
there
got that orc statue, that nice one they sent you in the mail. I never got one because
all right, I'm to take a page out of Ed's book.
Yeah.
Hey, Blizzard, you listening?
Yeah.
I have definitely been unsubbed before, but do you know how many thousands of dollars I've given you for freaking server transfers? Come on. Where's my statue? Let's go.
you did do a lot of server transfers. That's true.
Dude,
And that's the problem because then you get people who are like, oh, but I did this, and why don't I get this? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sort of never ends.
that
But I never got the statue because I had never unsubbed, but there was a period of time where I was using a Blizzard employee's 25-year card. I won't say who, but while I was using it, it shows me as being, though I'm in the game, I was unsubbed technically, and so I wasn't eligible for that thing. But it's too bad. Anyway, well done, everybody. A Game Pass type solution Luke is suggesting in here. I've always felt like Blizzard could benefit from some sort of broader subscription that would pull to other games in different ways.
We've talked about it on the show many times.
Yeah.
They're starting to be at a point where they have enough games to justify that. But the problem is they have a lot of games that will that you need to pay for stuff in. Like the base price of the game is pretty low. So then what do? They give you everything that they produce for the game?
Probably
or-
not. Like they'd say, hey,
right?
every month
That-
you get so many gems in Heroes of the Storm, or every month in Hearthstone you get 3 free packs or whatever it is.
Yeah, but that's not enough for someone who's playing Hearthstone. That's probably,
Oh, I agree.
like you would need to get a lot of packs
Yeah.
in Hearthstone. They don't put enough games out, I think, for
agree.
something like that to work.
I agree. I do. It bums me out that Garrett and I are the only people on my friends list in my BattleNet friends list that are playing Modern Warfare right now, because that game is great and we should all be playing it more. It's very good.
You want to talk about a solid campaign that like didn't take me long to get through, which is a good thing in my adult life.
Yeah.
Damn.
Although I had to run into a bug where that level where you got to use the laser pointer to tell the drone where to bomb. You remember that out in the dark on the roof?
Yeah, it was fun as hell.
It is, but every time I finish it, it something doesn't trigger the next scripting. I've killed everything. There's nothing happening, and I still have Price going.
Oh.
point the laser at the bear. And I'm like, there's nothing here. There's no trucks. There's no tanks. All the men are dead. Like, there's no. I don't know how to fix it.
I didn't run into that, but I do have a menu bug a lot of times where I go back to menu in between multiplayer games where it just maxes out my CPU for about 10 seconds.
Oh my gosh, weird.
You're really selling it well, guys. I think everyone's gonna want to play it now.
I think that game is really well made.
Really, I'd like to. This is going back to the person who wrote in and was like, "Do you think this is Activision making them move too quickly?" I'm like, y'all need to play some Call of Duty because there are so many bugs in that game. Oh my god!
It's got some issues, but it's tight. It's very good though.
But it's fun. It's still fun.
It's so fun. Yeah.
I haven't had anything actually interfere with my gameplay, just my menu.
Yeah. It's just stuff outside of it, but it's a very, very, very. It's the best that thing's ever been, in my opinion. When you're playing it, like the playing of it is as good as Call of Duty ever got. That's very
just good. For some reason, I'm in the mood for it right now. I don't know what's going on. Anyway,
so there's that.
Want to play Call of Duty?
You really should. It's fun. I'd play. I'd shoot you in the head. Be no problem. There's your.
Like it since Modern Warfare 2.
That's right. There's your stuff. There's your emails, and they came to us at theinstance@gmail.com. Don't forget theinstance.net for the website either. That's a great place to go to get all things instance related, and Instance Show on Twitter. Of course, Scott Johnson, Garrett Art, and Not Patrick as well. Let's let everybody mention anything they got going on. Patrick, we just did an episode of Pixels. That was fun. I enjoyed that. That was actually a couple weeks ago, I guess, wasn't it? Or whatever it was.
Yeah, and it was great. We went over all of the games of 2020. So, what we said about them is still valid. Some of them might have moved around a little bit. A couple of them, no big deal. Not many, just 3 of the biggest ones. But so we were mostly accurate on some of the things we said. You can go check that out. It's Pixels. So you look for that in your podcast app, you subscribe, and you have Scott and me talk about all of that stuff. And about the did we talk about Sony not being at E3?
Yeah, we
like
did,
that?
I think, a little bit.
Okay.
They had announced
There
that
you
by
go.
then, yeah.
And so that's a lot of stuff, a lot of content, and a lot of fun. So Pixels on your podcast app.
We did talk about the great April release of Cyberpunk, and it's not
Yes.
happening now, but other than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Garrett, anything from you this week?
Just last night put up a brand new episode of WoW Killer with Taliesin, talking about old gods in Azoth and their lore. And we also have a YouTube channel for that now, which is brand freaking new. So it doesn't have a custom URL. So if you could all go to bit.ly/WoWKillerCast and subscribe to the channel so I can get a custom URL, I'd really appreciate it.
Well, there you go. I like that. Someone let that
Also,
loose.
we did an 8-minute cold open for this week's episode that took me a really long time to edit. I'm super proud of it, and just that segment is on the YouTube channel right now with visual aids.
Oh, very nice. I like visual aids. Usually I'll put those on my YouTube channel, but currently the YouTube channel is shut down. There is some bumping around that maybe I'll get my appeal through. So those of you who get the instance that way, I apologize for the delay. You can get the VODs currently in collections. I'm doing those kind of like playlists on Twitch. So right after this episode, this version will be here as well. So you can get those at twitch.tv/frogpants. Just click on videos and collections and you're good. Or I have also been putting them as an alternative up on library.com. That's library.tv, which is LBRY.TV. It's like a open source decentralized video service that is pretty cool. I like it. And you can even download the episodes just right there on the screen. But anyway, I put those up there as well. That's linked at theinstance.net, and I would recommend you guys check that out. I think that is going to do it for us. Yes, it will. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Go to frogpants.com for all your other needs. We got lots of shows, lots of cool stuff happening. We'll be back for another episode of The Instance coming up soon. Until then, and in between now and then, for me, for Patrick, for Garrett, and for all of you, have a fantastic week. We did it, guys. We did
Excellent.
it. Yeah, we did it. Well done. Well done.
Well, I am going to go spend a little bit of time with my son and wife.
Aw. Well,
I think I'm going to go eat some Taco Bell.
Oh, shut up. That sounds so good, and I'm not supposed to eat food like that. I got.
You do realize there's like surprisingly low calorie options at Taco Bell.
No,
that
I know.
actually taste good, right?
It's just that I don't know. I'm trying to be good, but it's preservatives and crap. I'm trying to avoid. But I got my blood tests. You see, and
Oh.